Her cohort, Senator Blunt, comes on the show all the time, but she's very busy with the powerful people in Washington, D.C., and we get her so infrequently. We would, however, like to welcome Senator Claire McCaskill back to the show. Good morning, Senator McCaskill.
Yeah, I need to. You need to give me a little trouble for this. I need to come on more often, don't I?
Clearly, he has his mail sent here. He just comes and picks up his mail.
You are so full of it. He does not.
He gets his mail here.
No.
So I was reading in the Washington Post, Senator McCaskill, that they did an independent study, and you are the most middle-of-the-road, moderate, independent senator that they researched.
No, not quite. Almost. I was the fourth most likely Democrat to buck my party.
Okay.
So there were a couple of my colleagues that were even more centrist than I am. But as usual, I am right there in the middle, which I've been right there in the middle almost my entire career in the Senate.
When you do that, though, you don't have any friends on the Republican side, and you upset your own people on the Democratic side. So my question to you is, what can you get done if you upset your friends and your enemies don't like you anyway?
Well, you can't look at it like that. The reason everything's so messy out here is because we can't get people to the middle to compromise. And I think the majority of Missourians want us to compromise. I think they want us to be pragmatic. And, yeah, a lot of the noise in our political system comes from the ends of the spectrum. You know, the people who have very, very liberal ideas and the people who have very, very conservative ideas, they're the ones who, they watch MSNBC and Fox and they call and they write. But there's a huge bunch of people that are watching, watching Dancing with the Stars and trying to figure out if they can afford to send their kids to summer camp and worried about whether they have enough money to retire, that kind of think we're all nuts and do want us to compromise. And so I try to focus on that because I think that's what the most Missourians want us to do.
With that being said, what are your thoughts on this trade deal?
Well, here's the thing. I am desperately wanting to thwart China. I think people need to step back from this and realize this is not NAFTA. This is about opening up markets for American manufacturers. And we have to get in these markets over there. It is where the growth of consumers are going to occur. It is where the middle class has so much room to grow. They are way behind we are in terms of people who can buy washing machines and who can buy televisions and who can buy cars and all of those things. So, yes, I get the nervousness about environmental standards, about labor standards, about whether or not we are outsourcing all of manufacturing. But if we don't do this, China is going to take over. They are, in fact, there was a big article yesterday that did a really good job of analyzing what China is up to right now, hopefully anticipating that we are, frankly, stubborn enough to turn our back on a deal that's going to make a huge difference long-term for manufacturing in this country. I want our manufacturers to have new markets. We need this Asian market.
Does it pass? Does he get the...
I think eventually it does.
Yeah.
I think eventually it does. And by the way, this is really hard for me. Some of my dearest friends and best supporters in the world are justifiably cynical and angry about previous trade deals and what's happened to jobs here in this country. Some of that is a result of the failure of us to draft NAFTA carefully enough. This one is much better, has much stronger language, but some of it is also was inevitable because of technology.
Right.
I mean, we have fewer jobs because we have the technology now that a machine can do a job of 3 or 4 people, and computers can run things that we used to have humans for. And so part of this is just the reality of modern technology, but it's still painful, incredibly painful.
The story that came out the other day, we talked about it here on the show, I think it was the Pew Research Center came out and did job growth since the Great Recession. And the St. Louis metropolitan area was last in terms of job growth and has taken longer to come back. Why is St. Louis and the metropolitan area having such a hard time creating jobs?
I haven't seen that study, but I have a hard time believing that the issues that we're facing in St. Louis are any different than the issues that are being faced in so many other urban areas. We obviously still struggle with public education. We are still struggling with, and by the way, we don't have a Missouri legislature that is focused on this. They're so busy kind of what I call majoring in the minors that they've allowed our higher education costs to get higher and higher and higher. They are, strangling our rural hospitals by stubbornly, for political reasons, refusing to accept billions of dollars in federal money that Missourians have paid in their taxes that deserve to come back to Missouri for health care. I think some of the reasons that our area is not as attractive is that we seem to have a Missouri legislature that's focused on things that aren't very important. Our tax rates are some of the lowest in the country, in every level. So it's not that we have high taxes, and so that's the issue.
Let's talk a little presidential politics. Are you going to run for the Republican nomination?
Very funny.
Well, everybody's running. I just figured I might as well ask you. Are you
No. In fact, I've got a book coming out this summer, and it's so funny because typically politicians write memoirs, and it's all about carefully crafting them so they say just the right thing. I joke with all my friends, it will be very obvious to everyone when they read this book that I am not running for president, because I talk about things in the book it's like a blunt instrument. I do not make it all unicorns and rainbows, and it's really a candid and very personal account of what has happened in Missouri politics the last 30 years from my perspective. And so, no, I'm not running for president.
Okay.
I'm definitely not running for president.
If you had to pick somebody on the Republican side, if you had to, who would you vote for?
Oh, gosh.
I know you're thinking Donald Trump.
That's hard.
Well, that's why I asked the tough questions here.
I guess Jeb. I mean, honestly, I guess he obviously understands that making immigrants in this country the enemy is really bad for our country, and the others seem to be perfectly content to act as if that immigrants are the problem, and try to use immigrants as a wedge issue in this country, which kind of, breaks my heart a little, considering what this country is and what it has stood for throughout our history. So I guess Jeb.
On a serious note, does Donald Trump, who is a joke of a candidate, does he destroy the process, the seriousness of running for president? I mean, he's sort of a clown and turning the whole thing into a joke.
Yeah. Although it's gotten so crazy over there. I mean, people literally are running for president over there that, I think they're going to end up having like 20 candidates. So I'll kind of leave that to the Republicans to sort out. I will say this, that the Republicans that were so ecstatic over Bernie Sanders, my friend, who is a declared socialist, who is running for president, they're all excited about Bernie causing Hillary Clinton problems. And then I said to a couple of them yesterday on the floor, I said, yeah, so how's that Trump thing feel to you?
You are officially supporting Hillary Clinton, correct?
Of course,
okay.
Yes.
All right,
yes.
Lastly, I've got 1 minute, Senator, and of course the biggest story around here, of course, is the FBI investigating your beloved St. Louis Cardinals. What are your thoughts as you watch this story?
Well, I think all of us, all of us that take such pride in what the Cardinals represent in baseball are embarrassed. And I think we're all anxious to know exactly who did this and why. And I was, relieved yesterday that Mo and Bill DeWitt came out saying in very strong terms this clearly was not something that they were aware of, and they are as upset about it as everyone else is. It's just such a shame that we are in not a big market. We don't have a big payroll. We work hard. We play as a team. We have great fan support, and we win, 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 win. We do everything right in St. Louis. So everybody's so jealous of us. So just giving them all this ammunition to shoot at us now just kind of makes me sick to my stomach. But it is what it is, and we'll get through it. And I think when the facts all come out, it will. If someone did this, I'm confident it's someone who had misplaced values and didn't belong in the Cardinal organization.
Senator, you're always welcome here, and when the book comes out, we'd love to have you and help you sell a couple.
Of course. I'll be there for sure, and we'll talk before then.
You got it. Senator Claire McCaskill, be safe, and thanks for checking in.
Thanks.
You got
Bye.
it. Senator Claire McCaskill here on the Big 550 KTRS said if she had to, she'd vote for Jeb.
I know she was really on the fence between Jeb and Donald Trump.
Trying to get her to make some news. Trying to get her to say something bad about Trump, but what are you going to do?
Well, she's not.
I tried. 7:30 here, Big 550